All right, so here are the notes. You can find these on Canvas also. This is day 2 of solving equations. So I'm going to skip down through the notes. If you want to look at those on Canvas, you can, or you can rewind this and go back and look at it that way. All right, so for today, I'm going to work 3 problems, and you're going to solve for k in all 3 of them. This one right here, these that don't have any coloring with them, that is the original problem, and it says solve for k. So what I've done, I've made each k, let's do this one too right here. I've made each k red so it kind of stands out to us. All right, so we're going to solve the first one. We're going to solve this one for k. I draw my line. The rules did not change. If I want to get this k by itself, then I'm going to have to get rid of this 2 that's with it and the r. So since the r is farther away, I'm going to get rid of it first. Now I'm getting rid of this entire term, r. So to get rid of a term, you're either going to add or subtract. So because this r is positive, that means I'm going to have to, that's basically being added, I'm going to have to subtract the r. And if I do that to the left, I have to do it to the right side also. All right, so let me draw a line here, and let's see what we have left. So the r is being added, and then I subtract it, so it's gone. So I'm left with this. This subtraction here, a lot of people think that the r was being subtracted. It's not. This goes with the 2. All right, so if you want to know what sign it is, or if it's being added or subtracted, you always look in front or whatever you're focused on. This r was positive, that's why it was being added. So we'll be left with a minus or negative 2k. Bring my equal sign down, and we have 15 minus r. All right, so the k is still not by itself. We have to get rid of this negative 2 that's being multiplied. If you want to get rid of something being multiplied, then you divide it. So when I divide, I'm dividing by the thing I'm trying to get rid of, which is the negative 2. Remember, we don't change signs of a number, we change the operation, what it's doing. So when we come over here to divide by negative 2, keep in mind, if you're going to multiply or divide on both sides of the equation, you're multiplying or dividing the entire side of the equation. So you divide all of that by negative 2. So the negative 2's go away, and we have k equals 15. That's an ugly 5, but 15 minus r all over negative 2. So that's going to be your answer, and there's no check on this. All right, for number 5, I made the k red. I'm going to draw my line, kind of crooked, which bothers me, so I'm going to fix that. Make it a little bit better. All right, so to get the k by itself, we have to get rid of the 6, and we also have to get rid of this entire term over here that's being subtracted. So to get rid of this whole term being subtracted, we're going to add it to both sides. So the 2 z's go away, and you're left with 6k on the left. I'm going to bring the equal sign down, and then we have a 12 plus 2z. All right, so to get the k by itself, we have to get rid of the 6 that's being multiplied. So we're going to divide by 6. Or if we're dividing the left side by 6, we have to divide the right side by 6. So we have all of this. All right, now, normally you could just write that down. But technically, this is not in lowest terms. It's not simplified. The reason it's not simplified is because you can divide, there's something on top you can divide every term by. Okay, you have to remember that if you're going to try to simplify something, you can't just divide the 2 or the 12. You can't just divide the 2z or the 12. let me reword that. You could not just come up here and say, hey, I'm going to divide the 12 by 6. You can't do that. You have to divide the whole numerator and the whole denominator by the same number. So when you're looking at the top, the numerator, look at each term, you're looking for a GCF, which basically means what is the biggest thing you can divide both of these terms by. You can divide both of them by 2. So if you do that, we come in here, and if we want to divide the numerator and the denominator by 2, that's supposed to be division. All right, if you want to do that, to simplify it, you have to divide everything on the top by 2. So the 12 gets divided by 2, and the 2z gets divided by 2, which leaves you 1z. And then on the bottom, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So then this would be your simplified answer. Another way to think about this is you could do distributive property on the top. If you did that, you would factor out a 2. You did backwards distributive property, you could pull a 2 out of both of those. You can check it by using distributive property. 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times z is 2z. All right, it's the same idea, and then we divided that 2 away and divided a 2 on the bottom also. All right. So this one is going to get a little bit larger, all right? So I'm going to kind of curve my line a little bit to make room over here. All right. We need to get the k's. This is step 2 of solving equations. We need the k's to be on the same side. So you can either get rid of the 4k or this negative 2k. If you want to get rid of the 4k, it's positive, so you would subtract 4k from both sides. If you want to get rid of this negative 2k, since it's negative, it's as if it's being subtracted, so you would have to add 2k to both sides. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to add 2k to both sides, because this is step 2 in solving equations. All right, so 4k plus 2k, they are like terms, so I can combine those to make 6k. I'm going to bring the plus h down, equals. The 2k's are gone, and I'm just left with the negative 14 or minus 14. Keep in mind, we're trying to get the k by itself. So we have to get rid of the 6 and the h. The h is farther away, so we're going to get rid of the h term. Since the h is being added, to get rid of it, we're going to subtract on both sides. So the h's go away, leaving you 6k. Over here, we had a negative 14 minus h. All right, so to get this k by itself, we have to get rid of the 6 that's being multiplied. So we're going to divide by 6, which means we have to come over to the right side and divide it by 6. So k equals a negative 14 minus h over 6. All right, a couple things I want to show you real quick. You can actually take these and separate them into 2 different fractions if you wanted to. You don't have to do this, but you can. So keep in mind that if we wanted to take 1/7 plus 2/7, well, to add or subtract fractions, the denominators have to stay the same, or have to be the same, and you keep that, and then you work across the top, 1 plus 2. So if we go backwards on this, if you have more than one term on the top, you can separate them, but you have to make them all fractions using that denominator. So 1/7 plus 2/7. So we could do the same thing here. We get to put the 15 over negative 2. And then you could put, this is going to be a little trickier, okay? We could put the minus r over negative 2. But if you have this, you'd want to simplify a little bit. That negative right here, you could put it on top or you could put it out front. And this right here, we have two negatives here. All right, so negative divided by negative, or minus a negative. That becomes a positive. And then you'd have this. So this is equal. This is the same equation. It's equivalent to this equation. All right, these are both correct answers. They just look a little bit different. The reason you might want to do that is when you're looking at this over here, if we separated those, we'd have 6 over 3 plus z over 3. And if you look at this 6 over 3 right here, this becomes 2. 6 divided by 3 is just 2. So you'd have 2 plus z over 3. This one over here, if you did it here also, you'd have a negative 14 over 6 minus h over 6. And if you wanted to simplify this a little bit, that would simplify, you could divide the top and bottom by 2, and that would make this a negative 7 over 3. But you don't have to, okay? That is just purely up to you. Or if it's a multiple choice test, maybe this answer wasn't there, but this one was. So you may have to work it out a little bit, simplify, work some different angles to find the correct multiple choice answer. All right, that's it for today.